Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily News YouTube channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Genoa City had never been a place where secrets stayed buried for long, and on this particular morning, the air itself felt heavy with unspoken truths. The Abbott mansion was unusually quiet, the kind of silence that stretched too long, hinting that something important was about to unfold. Billy Abbott, restless and suspicious as always, paced across the room, his mind turning over recent events like stones in a riverbed. He'd been uneasy for days, ever since he noticed his mother, Jill, acting coy, making hush phone calls, and cutting conversations short when he entered the room. Then there was Sally Spectra, whose sudden involvement in the Chancellor Winter's business dealings had raised every red flag Billy possessed. The two women had nothing in common except their ability to keep secrets, and Billy's instincts screamed that whatever was going on between them wasn't just business. That morning, he got his chance. Billy had come home early after a tense meeting with Jack and Kyle Ajabo. He was ready to pour himself a drink and escape the day's chaos when he heard voices coming from the library. At first, he assumed it was one of Jill's endless business calls. But then a familiar voice drifted out. Sally's. His brow furrowed. What was she doing here at the Abbott estate of all places? Curiosity flared, sharp and irresistible. He moved closer, his steps light, stopping just outside the door. Inside, Jill's sharp tone cut through the air. "Sally, you can't just blurt something like that out in public. Do you have any idea what would happen if Billy ever found out?" Billy froze, his pulse quickening. If Billy ever found out what? His name dropped like a grenade, made his heart pound harder. He leaned closer, pressing his back against the wall, careful not to make a sound. Sally sighed heavily, her voice trembling just slightly. "Jill, I didn't mean to say anything. It just slipped out when we were talking about the past. I never thought it would come back to this. But he deserves to know eventually, doesn't he?" Jill's voice softened, though the tension in her words remained. "Maybe someday, but not now. If you tell him the truth, it'll destroy him. You have no idea what that kind of revelation could do." Billy's stomach dropped. The truth destroy him. His mind raced, every possible scenario flashing through it. He'd made his share of mistakes, and God knows he'd been on the receiving end of enough betrayals. But this felt different. The way they were talking, like they were guarding something enormous, something personal. He pressed his ear closer to the door, his pulse, a steady roar in his ears. Sally spoke again, her tone tinged with regret. "Jill, I can't keep living with this. Every time I see him, I see what I've done. The guilt, it's eating me alive." He looks at me with trust, with those eyes that want to believe I'm on his side, and I can't even breathe. "How much longer do you expect me to pretend?" Jill's reply came firm, decisive. "As long as it takes. You made a mistake, Sally, but we can't undo it now. What's done is done, and Billy can't ever know the truth. Not about what happened that night, and especially not about." A door creaked in the distance, and Jill stopped mid-sentence. Billy cursed under his breath, straining to hear more, but the conversation had shifted to whispers. He stepped back, hiding behind the staircase, as he saw Jill and Sally emerge from the library. They looked rattled. Sally's eyes were glassy, as though she'd been crying, while Jill's expression was that of a general, trying to keep her troops in line. Billy ducked out of sight until they left. Once the door closed behind them, he emerged, confusion and dread swirling in his chest. What were they hiding? He needed answers, and he needed them now. Hours later, Billy found himself replaying every word he'd heard, every pause, every glance between the two women in his mind. It wasn't just guilt or business tension. It was something far more personal. Sally's words echoed like a drumbeat. He deserves to know eventually. Deserves to know what? He couldn't let it go. The next day, he caught Sally alone at Crimson Lights. She was hunched over her coffee, lost in thought when Billy sat across from her. she startled, almost spilling her drink. "Billy, hey, you scared me." He forced a smile, watching her closely. "Sorry about that. Didn't mean to sneak up on you." Subscribe our channel for more latest update. "You look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders." Sally chuckled nervously. "Yeah, well, it's been a week. You know how it is." "Do I?" Billy leaned forward. "Because I can't shake the feeling that you've been avoiding me. You and my mother seem awfully close lately. Should I be worried?" Her eyes darted away. "Worried? No, Jill. And I just have some overlapping business interests. That's all." He tilted his head, studying her reaction. "Interesting. I could have sworn I heard my name come up between you two the other day. Something about how it would destroy me if I ever found out some big truth." Sally froze, the color draining from her face. You heard that." Billy's voice dropped to a low, dangerous whisper. "I did. And now you're going to tell me exactly what it was about." For a long moment, Sally said nothing. The cafe noise faded into a dull hum around them. Finally, she took a shaky breath. "Billy, I can't. It's not my place to say." "That's not good enough." His eyes burned with intensity. "You owe me the truth, Sally. Whatever it is, I deserve to know." Tears welled in her eyes, and she whispered, "You'll hate me and Jill. Especially Jill." Billy's jaw tightened. "Try me." Later that night, Jill received a call. Sally's voice was barely audible on the other end. "He knows, Jill. He overheard us." I couldn't lie anymore. "What did you tell him?" Jill demanded, her voice trembling. "Everything," Sally said quietly. "He knows about the baby." Jill's face went pale. "Oh my God." Billy sat alone in his apartment, the words echoing in his mind. The baby. It didn't seem real at first. Sally had confessed that years ago, long before she arrived in Genoa City, she'd had a child she thought had died at birth. But that wasn't true. Jill had been involved somehow, helping to protect the secret for reasons Billy could barely comprehend. And the most horrifying part, Sally's child wasn't lost. He was alive, and the father was Billy himself. Sally had broken down when she told him. It had happened years ago, back when Billy was spiraling, chasing thrills, and running from his pain after Dilea's death. He'd met Sally in Los Angeles during one of his many reckless detours. A brief, passionate encounter, something neither of them thought would matter. But it had. Sally had gotten pregnant, terrified and alone, not knowing what to do. When complications arose, she was told the baby didn't survive. Jill had discovered the truth later. Apparently, the hospital had arranged an illegal adoption, and Jill had quietly intervened to protect Billy from more heartbreak. The child had been placed elsewhere, under a different name, and Sally was told to move on. Billy's entire body shook with disbelief as Sally spoke. "I didn't know until recently," she said through tears. "Jill told me the truth a few months ago, after she tracked down records that proved it. I wanted to tell you, Billy, but she begged me not to. She said you'd spiral, that it would destroy everything you've rebuilt." He had no words. His mind was a whirlwind of grief, anger, confusion, and betrayal. "You both lied to me," he said hoarsely. "You kept my child a secret from me for years." Sally tried to reach for his hand, but he recoiled. "I thought I was protecting you," she whispered. Jill thought so too. You were barely surviving back then. She didn't think you could handle losing another child. Billy's eyes blazed. "That wasn't your decision to make." He stormed out, unable to breathe, unable to think. The night air hit him like a slap, but it didn't clear the fog of rage clouding his mind. All those years, lost moments, lost chances, an entire life he never even knew existed. His heart broke all over again, the way it had when he lost Delia. Only this time, the pain came laced with betrayal from the two people he least expected. The next morning, Jill found him at the Abbott cabin. She approached cautiously, her tone gentle. "Billy, I know you're angry. I know this feels unforgivable." He turned his eyes hollow. "Feels unforgivable. You took away my right to know my own child existed. Mom, Tears filled Jill's eyes. "You have to understand. When I found out, it was too late. The adoption was already finalized. The child was safe, happy, living a good life. You were barely holding it together. Drinking, gambling, blaming yourself for Dilea. I couldn't let another loss destroy you. You decided what I could handle." His voice rose, trembling with emotion. "You decided what kind of father I could be. I decided to save you from yourself," Jill said quietly. "It wasn't about control. It was about love. I did what I thought was right." Billy shook his head. "You lied. You and Sally both lied. You stole years from me from that kid. Do you even know where they are now?" Jill hesitated. "Yes, I've kept tabs. The child, he's a teenager now. His name's Jordan. Subscribe our channel for more latest update." Billy froze. Jordan. The name struck him like a thunderbolt. "You mean Jordan, Claire's cousin, the one who was taken in by the Newmans after the mess with Claire's mother?" Jill nodded slowly. "Yes, it's him." Billy staggered back. The connections unraveled in his head, like a cruel puzzle falling into place. The boy he'd seen at Newman events, the one with Sally's fiery eyes and a stubborn streak that reminded Billy so much of himself. That boy was his son. His heart clenched, torn between awe and devastation. "You let me stand there, looked that kid in the eyes, and you said nothing." "I couldn't," Jill whispered. "It would have ruined too many lives." "Too many lies, you mean?" Billy snapped. "You've spent your whole life trying to protect me from the truth, Mom. But all you've done is make me hate myself more. Every time I start to find my footing, you pull the rug out from under me." Jill's face crumpled. "I never wanted this pain for you." "Well, congratulations," he said bitterly. "You gave it to me anyway." Word of the revelation spread through Genoa City, faster than wildfire. Jack tried to mediate, but Billy was unreachable. Sally, meanwhile, faced the wrath of the entire Abbott family. Ashley accused her of manipulating Billy, of using his emotions to worm her way back into his life. But Sally didn't fight back. She simply said, "You can think what you want. I didn't want this to come out this way." Meanwhile, Jill's reputation took a hit as well. Devin, Lily, and even Victor Newman confronted her about the deception. But Jill stood her ground. "I did what I thought was best," she insisted. Billy wasn't ready then, and maybe he's not ready now. But Billy was determined to prove her wrong. He began searching for Jordan, determined to meet his son and tell him the truth. It wasn't easy. Victor Newman had taken a protective interest in the boy, especially after the trauma surrounding Claire's kidnapping. But when Billy finally stood face to face with Jordan, something inside him broke and healed all at once. Jordan looked at him with cautious curiosity. "You wanted to see me. Why?" Billy swallowed hard, his throat tight. "Because there's something I need to tell you. Something that changes everything." The boy frowned. "Okay." Billy smiled faintly through tears. "I'm your father." The silence that followed was unbearable. Jordan blinked, confused and disbelieving. "What?" "That's not know my parents." "I know," Billy said softly. "You were adopted." "You didn't know." "And I didn't either. Not until recently." "But it's true." Jordan's eyes darted between Billy's face and the floor, struggling to process it. "So, you're saying all this time?" "Yes." Billy's voice cracked. "All this time, I didn't even know you existed. But I want to. I want to make it right if you'll let me." Jordan didn't answer right away. He just nodded slowly and walked away, leaving Billy standing there, his heart shattered yet strangely full. In the weeks that followed, the fallout consumed Genoa City. Sally disappeared from public view, haunted by her choices. Jill tried to repair things with Billy, but he kept his distance. "I need time," he told her. "Time to forgive, time to understand. But right now, I can't look at you without seeing everything I lost." Jill wept that night in the Chancellor Mansion, realizing she might have lost her son's trust for good. Billy, meanwhile, focused on Jordan. They started meeting quietly, away from the media, away from the Newman drama. Slowly, the boy began to open up, They talked about music, about sports, about life. It wasn't easy, but it was a start. One evening, as they watched the sunset near the lake, Jordan asked, "Did you ever wish you'd known sooner?" Billy smiled sadly. "Every single day. But if knowing sooner meant losing you now, maybe it's better it happened this way. We can start fresh." Jordan nodded and for the first time called him Dad. The word hit Billy like a healing wound. Painful, but full of promise. Yet back in Genoa City, storm clouds still gathered. Victor Newman, ever the patriarch, had his doubts about Billy's intentions. "You think you can just walk into that boy's life and play father after all this time?" Victor warned, "You'll cause more harm than good." Billy squared his shoulders. "You might control everyone else in this town, Victor, but not me. Not this time. That's my son, and I'm not walking away." Victor's icy stare met his. "We'll see." The tension between the Abbotts and Newmans reignited, threatening to pull everyone into another family war. Jack tried to mediate. Sally tried to vanish. And Jill tried to undo the damage. But the truth couldn't be buried again. In a rare moment of reflection, Jill confided to Catherine Chancellor's portrait, "Subscribe our channel for more latest update. You always told me secrets come with a price. I just didn't realize how high it would be." Months later, Billy finally found peace, or something close to it. He had rebuilt a fragile bond with Jordan, made tentative amends with Sally, and even managed to speak civilly with Jill. But the scars remained, a reminder that truth always finds its way to the surface, no matter how deeply buried. As he stood outside the Abbott mansion one quiet evening, the autumn wind rustling the trees, Billy whispered to himself, "I've made a lot of mistakes, but this time I'm not running, not from the truth, not from my family, not anymore." From the shadows of the porch, Jill stepped forward, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm proud of you, son." Billy turned, his expression softer than it had been in weeks. "You should be, because I finally learned from your mistakes and mine." Jill smiled faintly, and for the first time in a long time, there was peace between them. But deep down, Genoa City knew peace never lasted long, because in this town, every secret breeds another. And somewhere someone else was already listening. Subscribe our channel for more latest update.